What's up, viewers and listeners? My name is Jay. I'm a registered nutritionist based here in Bristol, working with BJJ enthusiasts across the globe, helping Jiu Jitsu practitioners perform to the best ability on the mat, whilst making sure they are not doing anything stupid with their weight cuts. On today's episode, we had Beth Andrew. She was our 1,000 follower prize winner, but also runs the Women of BJJ social media page. Beth is a blue belt in Jiu Jitsu based at the Lakes BJJ Academy in Kendal, has competed in multiple platforms, Northern Submission Series, BJJ 24/7, and most recently Enyo. Beth is wanting to uplift the Jiu Jitsu scene, not just for women alone, but the whole community. In this podcast, we talked about body positivity and how it could be harming others, the BJJ community helping with mental health, poor weight cut experiences, competition issues due to the lack of opponents, and much, much more. We had some extra guests in this episode, so please don't feel lost whilst viewing or listening with some repeat conversations. Thank you for tuning in, and of course, if you're not subscribed, please click that button and turn on post notifications for further content updates. Thank you for watching and listening, and let's get into, I can't believe I'm saying this, episode 20. Oos. Right, guys, welcome to the BJJ Nutrition Podcast. We're on episode 20. My name is Jay. I'm the host of the BJJ Nutrition Podcast and the BJJ Nutrition Consultancy, helping Jiu-Jitsu enthusiasts, hobbyists, athletes perform to their best whilst also not doing anything silly with their weight cuts. Today, I am joined by
Beth Calvert. I'm Women of BJJ. I've just given the wrong name. Beth Andrew.
There we go. That's all good.
Women of BJJ UK.
Well, look, obviously, Beth, we've been looking forward to getting this booked in. It's odd enough, you won our 1,000 follower giveaway, which is cool. So you've got obviously our hoodie, our soap, and obviously working with me at some point, which we've got arranged, which would be pretty cool to see obviously how that all goes. But after speaking to you and obviously finding out about the page and stuff, I was like, right, let's give you the platform to speak about obviously Women of BJJ and obviously a little bit about yourself, your competition experience and that sort of thing, and just see what we can put the world to rights with in Jiu-Jitsu at the same time, which would be really, really cool. But let's start off with, let's say, your experience, your lineage, what belt you are, what competitions you've done, how's that all been so far?
Yeah, so I'm a blue belt. I've been training for, well, it's complicated, but about 18 months, I reckon. So I train at Lakes BJJ. I've done quite a few competitions and shows now. Northern Submission, most recently Enyo.
Yeah.
Clash, all the ones in and around sort of northwest, northeast, and then some of the competitions, 24/7 and stuff.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. 18 months blue belt, obviously. What was it, over the COVID period by any chance? Or
Oh,
was it not?
well, I actually started in 2018,
Okay.
and then got pregnant, and then had the baby, came back, trained for a little while, and then COVID happened. And then came back for a little while, got pregnant again. It's a reoccurring thing. And then by the time I'd sort of come back, definitely was after lockdown. So I came back just as a one stripe white belt.
Yeah.
And then that was what? No, it wouldn't have been March 2021, and then trained consistently.
Nice.
Since then.
Quick question, obviously, for me, I ain't having a baby anytime soon, obviously. What was it like getting back into Jiu-Jitsu post-pregnancy and stuff? Was it tricky or not really? Is there anything you have to be worried about? Or?
I'm really fortunate in that I could bring the baby to the gym, because at the same time, the coach's wife had a baby.
Yeah.
So we just brought our babies to the gym. All of our classes came, so like for feeding and stuff like that was fine. The obvious things are like, you're tired. You're a lot more tired than what you would be. I know, it's such a surprise.
Yeah.
10 years on, I'm still knackered. But yeah, you can bring them to the gym, so that was fine. It's stuff that you don't really think about, like if you are breastfeeding and you're having people rolling all over your chest and stuff like that's really uncomfortable. Trying to, so obviously you gain weight when you're pregnant, you're carrying around more weight, your body's really supple and all your joints are stretchy, and trying to make sure you're not pushing yourself too far, because especially with me and a couple of the women that I know that have had babies, with Jiu-Jitsu, the first thing you want to do is get back into Jiu-Jitsu and be exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that, because your body is completely different. You know, don't get me wrong, it takes a little more to armbar you, but you're absolutely knackered after it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. I'm fortunate that, like I said, I can bring the baby and I could train as much as I wanted to, but it was a bit of a slog doing it, especially fourth time round. Yeah.
I can imagine. Like, obviously getting back into it, I think it's the same thing. I think we're talking obviously off air about like injuries and stuff like that, and that you keep on getting like little niggles and stuff, and it'll be like 2 weeks into training and something else comes up, and then it'll be something else a week later, and then you're just eager to get back on the mat and just get rolling as quickly as possible. And sometimes I think we have to take a step back to say, hey, look, none of us are toppling Gordon anytime soon, I don't like to think, or anything like that. So it's the case of it doesn't need to be now, here, present, but I think we both agree that it gives you that escapism to enjoy it and just have that time to yourself, I imagine, as well.
God, yeah. Like, I don't know what I'd have done without this gym. With both of mine, I got really bad postnatal depression, and without being able to come, like, especially the fourth time round, it was like my saving grace. The gym in total, but BJJ particularly, it's because for me, jiu-jitsu isn't just about like rolling around and stuff like that. Like, it isn't the physical jiu-jitsu. It's like the community, the people, the fact that you can just, everyone from all walks of life come here, and you know you're just rolling around on the floor, and that's the thing you've got in common. And it's just you walk onto the mats, and nothing else matters for that time.
It's those things which I say to everyone, a bit of a gym gypsy. I know where my home is. I go to my main club type thing, but I'll happily go around trying different places all the time. And it's hard to describe that you're walking down the street, you're on the mat, you don't even know someone, you just go, yeah, well, okay, cool, and you just slap and tap type thing, and off you go type thing. But you put that in any other normal environment, like you wouldn't walk up to a random person in the pub and be like, all right, yeah, hey mate, how you doing type thing, just start chatting, what's your name type stuff. It's so uncommon, but for whatever reason in this world, it's just normal, do you know what I mean? And then afterwards you have a chin wag about whatever type thing, or like, oh, how did you do this, how did you do that, or where did you come from, that type of thing. So it's really, really cool.
And you end up making like lifelong friends and stuff like 100%.
That. 100%. It's wicked. Like, going to a local comp, for example, and just bumping into everyone and saying, hey, how you doing type thing. Like, it's awesome to that degree. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's how the community should be, and there should be certainly like no animosity in the slightest bit. Like, I don't care if you're Gracie Baja, I don't know, Roger Gracie, or some other affiliate or whatever type thing. Like, it's all just jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should be no different from it, right? But no, that's all cool. Competition-wise, then, obviously, you chuck yourself in the deep end pretty soon after. Are you just an angry person or a competitive person? Where does that come into the mix of things?
I don't know. I like the challenge, and I like to push myself. So when I think it was May 2021. As a white belt, I had my first show on Northern Submission. It was Northern Submission #1, and I'd never done a competition before, never done a show, never even dreamed of competing. And it came up, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm gonna give it a bash. I got absolutely smashed, but I'm gonna give it a bash, and it was absolutely brilliant. And then it kind of just tumbled from there. And it was the same with my blue belt. I got my blue belt at Manchester BJJ 24/7. So that was the October. And I'd gone on holiday the week after, and while I was over there, Northern Submission came up again, and they wanted a 70 kilo blue belt. I was like, am I going to make this mistake again? I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll make this mistake again. And again, got smashed, jumped going.
That's all right. Sorry guys, we've interrupted. We've got some lovely children who want attention by that thing.
They're not that lovely.
Yeah, no, crack on, it's all good. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, we've given up on the smashing. There we go. So I thought, fuck it, I'll go back, and came back fresh off holiday and did a blue belt competition. And each time I just think, oh my God, I've absolutely fucking fluked this. Like, I don't know how I keep managing to blag my way. The thing in the run up to Enyo, which was like my goals for next year, with Scott and Enyo, I was like, I've seriously blagged my way to this. I remember driving down with my partner thinking, like, I said to him, I was like, I'm such an imposter, like, I don't belong in this world. So
mad, like, imposter syndrome hits us all in so many different ways. Like, it's mental, right? To the point where even within my job, obviously, helping people with their nutrition and stuff like that. And I don't know, let's say, for example, do I get ice cream?
If you go,
I'll behave myself, I promise.
It's the best bribe ever.
Best bribe ever.
Yeah.
I work some McDonald's too, I'm honest.
Oh God, yeah. Especially if it's like a Sunday or something.
It's all good. We'll talk about imposter syndrome, won't we? And how it all impacts us in little ways and stuff. So, like, for me being a nutritionist, it's like, all right, cool. I've done this a million fucking times, right? In terms of like moving people's weight down, up, maintaining, performing well, all this type of jazz. But let's say, I don't know, you have 3-4 days on the trot and it's not happening how it normally does, right? you then kind of, am I doing it wrong? Is there something going on here type of thing? I remember having one client in particular, her weight was really, really sporadic across the board. It would be like up 1 kilo one day, down 2, up back 2, and it was really, really varied. And I was like, this just doesn't make sense at all. And for months I was like, right, something's not quite going on here. And the thing is, it's not, I don't want to be there to accuse someone like, oh, you're lying or something's not quite right here, you're obviously just bullshitting me type thing. Because again, I appreciate everyone's got their own differences, and I try and build that relationship with them to make sure that, hey, it's all honest and truthful, I ain't going to judge in the slightest bit, right? You've gone out on the piss on the weekend, fine, it's happened, I can't change it, yeah? But it just wasn't, something just wasn't sitting right. And I was like, right. And it turned out basically that creatine was just fluctuating up, down, up, down, up, down all the time. Took it out, perfectly normal, how it normally looks. And I was like, but for the whole couple of months this was going on, I'm like, I'm a fraud, they've taught me everything wrong at uni, what the fuck's going on here type thing. But you get it in so many different ways. And obviously that competitive environment, mate, obviously look, you've been invited to, well, you've applied for the shows, you've been invited to the shows, that type of thing, and you've gone and performed in the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like,
it's a crazy one. I know a lot, like you said, a lot of people have it through loads of bits, and especially like the joke of when someone gets the blue belt and they just sack it off. It's like,
I'll believe that words, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because you go there and you're given this belt and you just think, I don't deserve this. Like, this isn't that. I'm meant to know what I'm doing now, or like, and then you realise actually no, your belt colour's changed. You're starting again as a white belt, but you're meant to know it. And
man, I think it's one of those things which I think once I got my blue belt, I kind of, one, I was satisfied that if anyone asked if I did jiu-jitsu, because normally my cauliflower ear gives it away straight away. And I'm like, right, yeah. And they sort of say to me, I'm a white belt. And they're like, oh, okay. And they look at you like, do you really know what you're doing type thing? And I'm like, so I wanted to be able to say, I'm a blue belt now, like I somewhat know what I'm doing type of thing, yeah. Doesn't mean I'm going to fucking kill everyone, don't get me wrong. But after that, I was in like, what difference does it make what belt goes from there, what colour it is? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can roll with some people from different clubs who are a purple belt, but roll like a blue belt at your club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've got no idea, and vice versa. Yeah, like you could go somewhere and roll with a white belt. I mean, we were joking about it earlier, like being caught with different moves and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you're like, you're a white belt? And they're like, oh God, you're questioning all your life choices and everything you've been drilling.
And soothing that bruise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's always awkward because I think it's definitely moments as a blue belt where you're being chased down by the white belts, and the purple belt's like, oh great, we can have a fucking full ham on you now type thing.
Yeah.
And you're there trying to survive, and I know people say it makes no difference if you get submitted by a white belt. There's a bit in the back of your mind.
Oh,
like,
it does.
You ain't some of me. I don't care. Like, I'm holding on for dear life here.
Yeah, and it just takes you by surprise as well. Like, I don't think, not in like a smug way, like you roll and you think, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of confident with what I'm doing as they're moving around. You're thinking, do they know what they're doing? Because I think I know what they're doing, and then you get heel hooked.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I can't do this to you. Why can you do this to me?
It ain't fair. That's the same thing of like, I've got an injury or something like that, and then all of a sudden you submit them with the same sort of move. Do you know what I mean? Like, got to have like a pirate's code type thing within jiu-jitsu. Parlay, that's the one. What was I going on about before my brain went off on a tangent? I've forgotten. Yeah, about being, that was the other thing. Like being rolling with a white belt and hearing that timer going like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're like, oh, I survived. Good roll, mate. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You got to work on X, Y, and 10 or something like this, and you like walk away like, Jesus Christ, that was close.
Do you want another roll? No, I'm just 5 minutes out.
5 minutes out. Yeah, just get a rest type thing. But yeah, it's all good. So obviously those are bigger show competitions, if you don't mind me saying, like Northern Submission Series, Enyo and that type of stuff. Did you do much locally at all? Or?
No, because we've not really got a lot around here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, probably, I don't know, Clash is in Leeds. That's probably the most local one, because we just don't have anything around here. Like,
it's like Manchester, that little bit too far for you and that type of thing?
Well, we do, competition-wise, there's BJJ 24/7, who've just announced that they're actually doing one in Blackpool as well, and Newcastle, so we'll be going to those, and we do them every time they come up because it's a really good one. But yeah, there's just nothing around here.
That's one of those tricky things, obviously. I know, obviously, when I said coming to the open mat today, I was like, how far away is it? Like an hour and a half. I'm like, shit, right, I've got to get going type thing.
Everyone sees Cumbria and think, it's only, you can walk there, it's fine, just to walk everywhere.
No, definitely not. So with the competition side of things then, you mentioned that you were wanting to get stuck in and stuff like that, and then did you have any doubts after that first competition at all? You're like, I love this, I carry the fuck on type thing? Or
I just wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
I remember walking off, and I mean, I'm not a sore loser. Like, I'll smile regardless. regardless. In fact, like I will always say to people, like, you know what, I needed that. Like, I needed a humbling loss, or I needed to do it. And but yeah, I came off and I was just hungry. I just wanted to do it all constantly.
Nice.
Yeah, and even now, like, I can't wait for my next one. But I've sworn that I'm not going to sign up to anything for the rest of the year. But then, actually, there's Newcastle 24/7, so see you there.
See you there, basically. You'll find Beth already signed up and everything. So I know we touched on this briefly with the nutrition side of things and weight, and obviously moving up and down. Have you always stuck at the same weight? Have you gone up? Have you gone down? What's happened there?
No, so I fight now at 70.
Yep.
When I first started, I fought at 60. And I just, my coach was forever saying, you know, you shouldn't be cutting, because I walked around then at about 63, 64.
Okay.
And I'm really lazy, so my weight cutting was in the last week, like, or on one occasion in the last 2 days, where I just ended up doing that absolutely awful, not eating, sauna.
So, as I say to everyone, no
espresso.
judgment on this. It's just to try and, as I try and say, is just get people aware that if you think you're doing something stupid, you're not the only person,
Yeah.
right? And it's just the case that it's about trying to level everyone up. And as obviously this page grows and obviously everything else, people will start to realise that people aren't doing it very commonly and there's better ways of doing it type of thing. But,
yeah.
So when you say you just didn't eat for 2 days type of thing, is that basically what you did, or was it something
Yeah,
else?
well, I was weighing myself, and I weighed myself on the Monday and I was sauna, and I had plenty of time to get down to 60.
Yeah.
And jumped on the scales on the Friday. I was 62.4. I was like, oh, piece of piss. I'll just reduce everything that I eat. Cause I've been drinking water all week, which I don't generally do, and espressos and stuff. Woke up on the Saturday morning. I was fighting on the Sunday, and it was 63.4. I was like, how the fuck did that happen? And I was like, I thought, I can't do my first show and weigh in heavy. So like throughout the entire day, I was here in a bin bag with jumpers on, running on the treadmills, spent all day wearing it. I ate one chicken breast and some asparagus with chili all over it, and then went to the sauna and ended up nearly passing out in the sauna. I woke up the next morning and I was bang on 60. So it must have just been holding water, like water weight. But I came down and my 10-year-old went, why are you doing this? You look like you'd be better dead. I was like, I feel like I'd be better dead. And I did shit, like,
Wow.
I just had no energy, completely depleted.
Do you think that first match may have been different if you didn't have to have all those extra different things? I know it's easier said than said looking back.
No, she was feisty.
Yeah.
No. She was MMA, and I was like, took a slap to the face. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be like any match that I've had before.
This is going to be a tough day in the office type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But
and then...
I was just going to say after that, I started going to 60, I think it's 63.9 or something like that, moved up a little bit, got my boobs done, went up even heavier naturally, and tried to stick around 65 and realised that actually the stress of trying to stick to 65 coming up to a competition isn't worth it. Like, I didn't enjoy the competition as much. I really, really like eating anything, and so going in and walking in at 70, knowing I don't have to stress, I can have my takeaways during the week, and I can eat my cake, just do everything. So yeah,
nice.
70-ish is.
I was going to say it must have been obviously challenging with obviously the family that you've got and everything and life, and then trying to diet on top of it.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the trickiest things for most people, I'd say, is trying to balance that family aspect of it. And one of the things I try and get across to a lot of clients with kids and stuff like that is that even though it doesn't seem like it's impacted them now, but they'll see stuff, right? Why is mum only having a chicken breast all of a sudden just for today type thing? And then it won't be immediate that's going to carry on for the rest of their life type of thing, but it will sit with them, and it will stay, and it will then look like, okay, and they'll be like, oh, why did mum do this? Why did dad do that? Why is dad and mum having a separate meal to everyone else type thing? And it all starts to like they're inquisitive, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 31, and my mum was, well, you'll remember Rosemary Connolly, and
exactly.
Weight Watchers, Slim Fast, all of that, and I remember my mum forever, our entire childhood was always on a diet, doing all these mad diets, and I remember being 15 and reading about the Beyonce cinnamon lemon one, you know, where you drink the water 3 times a day, and doing that, and she was doing it with me, and it was just, I don't want my kids to be like that, but
it's a tricky one. I think for me it's about giving parents the knowledge on what to do, because again it's scary to say that. I know it's been brought up on a couple of other podcasts in the sense that there's an element of ownership that you've got to learn cooking skills, for example, which I know sounds really mundane, but there's a lot of people who don't know how to cook, right? Which is scary to say. Is also having that confidence to go and cook in the first place, because people just go, oh, I'm a shit cook,
Yeah.
Right? We can all walk into a jiu-jitsu class and be like, I'm just shit at jiu-jitsu, yeah? But you've got to put yourself in that uncomfortable position to get better in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with other things in terms of like thinking of different recipes and adding to it. Like, no one has this expectation for you to become Gordon Ramsay overnight, right? But for some reason we put this mental pressure in our head to be like, I've got to be able to look at 3 ingredients and put something together, type thing.
Also, moving away from the fact that we don't have to just eat chicken, rice and veg.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's, we're, like, me and my partner are quite clued up with the food that we should eat, but equally, there's a time when you can do that and when you can't. So, like, I'm not going to feed my kids chicken, rice and veg.
What?
Like, sometimes I want to. But, like, 7 nights a week, I'm not going to do it. But equally, like, we know when it's time, like, if we have left it too late. But again, then it's about being sensible with it and having the nutrition and stuff.
It's trying to manage it appropriately, because there's definitely camps which I find, which is, I'm going to label it as like an alpha camp, where it's like everything must be clean and bodybuilding-esque and primal and stuff like this. And then there's the other camp which I don't give a fuck about a single thing, right? I just do what I want. I'm like, there is a balance in between type stuff, and the approach that I want to take is basically wherever you lie on that spectrum in terms of your approach with it. It's about then just keeping you consistent with it more so than anything else. If you want to be a militant and be there, like I joke, I've got some clients where I say to them, right, 4th meal of the day, can you go and find a northeasterly wind and stand on one leg while you're eating it? They'll go and do it, right? Because they think, oh my God, this is going to be fucking amazing, right? But then likewise, there's other people where you get them to try and have 3 solid meals a day, they can barely stick to that. Right, and then it's just like, okay, well, what's the barriers around here? Oh, I didn't have time to prepare. Okay, well, where's this preparation comes from? Oh, the kids were being fucking havoc all of a sudden. I'm like, right, okay, well, when do we have time when we're not with the kids or something like that? Oh, my partner has them on these days or something like that. I'm like, right, fine then, well, can we get some planning in for the rest of the week? And it may start from you doing a weekly shop, yeah? And then it's something as mundane as that is the like initial domino that then gets everything else going for it. Because without the weekly shop, you can't meal prep, right? You then want to try a different recipe, you haven't got half the fucking food available type thing. And you're like, oh, what's the fucking point now? Kids are back, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think they should, like, especially from a mum point of view as well, is like I'm a bit of a food snob, or I was. Sort of going, you know what, actually, I'm not going to be able to meal prep like 5 meals for this week, and then outsourcing like the prepped pots.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic. They're like £3. I'd spend double that going to the shop, getting a sandwich, and then I'd end up getting a cake, and then I'd end up getting a oatmeal latte with like caramel syrup or whatever, you know. And just saying, actually, it's not cheating, it's not any of that. It's just taking something that's easy and making it even easier.
this is the thing, right? I tell the people that if they pop into Tesco, the meal deal, right? If they're able to step probably 5 more steps further past the meal deal section, they can probably make exactly the same fucking thing than the sandwich, the fucking bag of crisps and the Diet Coke type of thing. And it just, again, it's just being able to go, right, okay, I'm going to challenge it a little bit and like go a bit further, because it's not going to take you just as long, but you build up the confidence to do it one time over and make your own salad or sandwich or whatever. You then go, this is actually a lot more easier than I expected.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Like rather than being stuck with a £5 meal deal, whatever the fuck it is right now type thing. But
yeah.
That's interesting. We went on a bit of a tangent then. I can't remember what we were going on with like family and kids and stuff.
Weight cutting. We'll talk about weight cutting, I think.
Weight cutting, yeah, and stuff like that. So when, was there like kind of a bit of epiphany moment? I obviously did that first competition, obviously it was tough. Was that like, I can't do this anymore? Or did you still consider it afterwards, you know what I'm asking?
No, I just, from my thing with eating is it's always been an issue with me since, like I said, since I was like 15 years old. I've always gone up and down. I've been dreadfully skinny, like running 10 miles a day, 5 days a week and all that. And then I've also been 14 stone. So the in between, and it just so happened that during this time when I got down to 60 was actually, I was on my way plummeting down back into that eating, just like that disordered eating behaviour.
Sure.
Where I'd had a baby, you know, a few months before. I'd stopped eating, I was only eating at night times, and then I met someone and we started talking about food, and we were getting that passion, and then like he wanted to cook, I wanted to cook, we enjoyed talking about food, and that was, you know, the turning point for me. But how that relates to BJJ is this is a guy I met at BJJ at this club, you know, so for me it just was like reigniting that sort of passion that I had for food and enjoying it.
That's
and then
nice.
yeah, and it is, and it does all sort of tie together in that. Again, I took it too far. I ate loads. I've been making like trays of cinnamon buns twice a week or whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
Cinnamon, right, it's a bit of a weird fact for everyone who's listening to this, where if I go low on my sugars and my type 1, I dream of cinnamon, basically. So I'll be like in bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I feel like shit. And I'm like, what have I been dreaming about? Oh, cinnamon buns. I'm like, I must be going low, right, type thing. And then I'll go and find something.
That's really weird.
Of all food, I don't know why. So like every time I get the opportunity for something like cinnamon, I'm like, oh, I'm in there, which is absolutely awesome.
Cinnamon Square cereal, that's where it's at.
Lush.
But yeah, so it all literally just came from just being happy and feeling content. And it's another reason I've got to be thankful for BJJ and finding the sport, because I don't know where it'd be.
Yeah, it's interesting enough then. Like, if you didn't meet your partner at BJJ, do you think obviously that wouldn't have transpired type of thing? Was there any sort of, was that just the encouragement or the confidence boost to keep on looking that way? Because let's say, for example, that partner was like, oh, we've got to be cutting properly all the time, but not properly, but just like cutting all the time. Do you think that could have been like a counter or like a negative thing?
I don't know, because we both do cut weight and do things like that, and it's something that we both have to do. So I don't know. No, I think even then, the happiness, like for me, food's my control.
Yeah.
So if I was happy with someone, like, or I was happy even if they wanted to weight cut, I'd be like, right, yeah, you can eat that, I'm gonna go and eat a brownie. Like, there's nothing better than the munchies and being able to eat what you want.
No, that makes sense. That's interesting. So again, it's kind of like back to enjoyment of food and actually having a happier lifestyle, if you know what I'm saying, type of thing, is just really kind of put you in a better position. And it's definitely, oh, what's going on?
They're all right.
It's fine, I hear stuff. The thing is, I hear noises like that, and I just want to react to it instantly. So if like someone's phone rings in the street, I instantly just say stuff like, hello, ring, ring, like it just blurts out my mouth.
I can just now, I don't even hear it, especially as we're like week 5 in the summer holidays now. It's just like...
You hope it's the penultimate week for you, isn't it? Is it the penultimate week for you, summer holidays, or you got one more week?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, it is.
Hope that's good news.
Yeah, no, we got this week, and then I think we go back next week. Actually, that's quite exciting.
God. What was I going to go on to then? Before I got distracted again. Happiness and lifestyle and stuff like this, and how it impacts us. This is again like, I'm not a life coach in the slightest bit, right? Not to quote James Smith here in the slightest bit, but that type of element. But if there's elements of your life which aren't in check, right? I'm not saying everything has to be perfect. It can affect us in so many fucking ways, right? To the point where I've had this discussion with other people before, and they're saying, oh, surely you should be encouraging people to be eating X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, the problem is that some people turn to food for that happiness factor, right? And then you kind of question, well, why aren't they happy in their lives right now? Yeah? And so is the way to approach this individual, and obviously I appreciate everyone's different, right? To cut out their happiness factor and be like, you need to sort your shit out and only eat chicken, broccoli and rice for the rest of your life, or fruit and veg and just meats off the land type thing, yeah? Or do we need to kind of go a little bit deeper and kind of go, right, what is the issue here, yeah? Where is that, where we find some sort of sense of unfulfillment in life, and we need to try and figure a way out to get around it, because then if I can nail that with that individual, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, then all of a sudden that becomes like a weight off their shoulders, and they stay way more consistent and everything goes back to normal again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
having that relationship as well, where you can, like we were saying before about where you can go, I fucked up, I went out at the weekend and drank a load.
Yeah. And it's just trying to find that balance of it, especially where I think it's this all or nothing mindset all the time, where it's like, right, you've got to be doing this, you've got to be doing that, I need to be eating X amount of meals a day and this many calories type of thing. It's like, there's levels to it type of thing, yeah? And if it's the case that, I don't know, some of us can be our own worst enemy, if that makes sense. Weekends come along, we go fucking ape shit and just eat and drink everything under the sun all the time. Then hey, we got to then try and proportion it that the rest of the week matches that all of a sudden. And then I'm like, right, rather than 10 beers, can we have 8 beers maybe, type of thing? And then just keep it in balance type of stuff altogether. But so with your nutrition knowledge, obviously there's, let's be honest, everything under the sun on social media, right? Where did you kind of sort of where did you gain your knowledge from initially type of thing?
I did a diet, me and Ruth that used to do Jiu Jitsu here, we did a diet called, it was like the Super Shred or something like that, paid 40 quid, got this generic PDF, and we had to eat, it was like 1 kilo of spinach or something a day, no fucking lie, like three big bags, so not 1 kilo, but 3, the big massive bags of them a day, and you had your oats for breakfast, protein powder, and then it was like, after a workout, you got rice cakes and a protein shake mixed in like cereal, and the rest of it was like fish and spinach, or you could have broccoli and all this. And we were doing this meal, and I thought there's got to be more to it than this, because Ruth, I owe a lot to. This was when I was really poorly, and she's like, look, you look like shit. Let's gain some muscle on you. So we were doing this thing, and we were like, there's got to be more to it. So we started looking into it and started going into, these macros that we've got to have and how does it work, and then sort of stretched out to the body coach.
Yep.
Like paid for this plan and learned a bit more, and then I've just sort of pulled, like with my understanding of it, pulled everything from everywhere, and every day is like a learning day. Like, I don't know if you know Sky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know her personally, but I know of her. She's been doing some
shit's fantastic.
awesome work,
Yeah.
honestly. So I've known of her basically from the bodybuilding days, where she then obviously went on, not say the flip side, she's like in a reversal and said, right, this is just not fucking healthy. Then I seen obviously she goes to a bit more CrossFit and then obviously take on Jiu Jitsu as well, and it's just like seeing all that transition. But she's a massive advocate of like trying to obviously get things sorted in the right place and everything. But again, kudos to her. Just keep.
She did a talk on like periods and menstrual health and stuff like that when we did the wellness camp here. And like I said, I'm pretty well read on it. I learned stuff, like from and you just think if every day you sort of stretched out and read something or listened to a post properly rather than just flicking through it, you can learn this, because this is stuff that she talks about on the daily. So I've learned quite a bit from following her as well.
Nice.
And the change in mentality as well. And then Costa, he's another one who holds me accountable to how much shit I eat, and have you heard of the Bruce chocolate cake?
No.
Oh god, don't. It's like fat stack. Anyway, introduced me to that, which is not the nutritionist thing, but yeah, he does really well in teaching you about like being accountable, but not like restricting and punishing yourself for it. So that's something that's took me a long time to learn.
Takes a long time.
Yeah.
It really fucking does. So like, again, I don't know, you probably won't know about this, but me went down the bodybuilding route originally, type of thing. That's what I wanted to do. I was a single guy at the time. I was like, this is what I want to try and achieve. Look great, get all the girls. That's what every guy thinks. And all you get is more guys going, you look sick, bro. Like, it's fucking amazing. I'm like, that wasn't an expectation. And again, had meal plans, diet plans, like thing. I had a kilo of sweet potato rather than spinach. So, and that was because he had fat burning capabilities apparently, and the guy had an 8-pack, so like he knows what he's talking about. And then, obviously went into different elements of it and started learning more about nutrition, went to uni, all that type of jazz and everything like that. But the interesting thing about it all is that throughout the whole of my time within the fitness industry, I hate to say it, the word cheat meal has just always been there. Cheat day, cheat meal. I'm going to probably say this now, it's been a bit of a bugbear. Binge eating disorder is completely different to you shoving all the food in your mouth on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
But everyone goes, I binged last night. And I'm like, there's a massive fucking difference.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, this is not to discredit things like depression the slightest bit, but you having, I don't know, a day where you're just a bit unhappy or upset isn't the same as depression. Do you know what I mean? And people just chuck it out all the time, like, I binged on that weekend, or I had a cheat meal or something like that. And it's like, it's not. You've just eaten more fucking food. That's all it fucking is.
We said blowout.
Yeah.
Well, I had a blowout. You know what? Like it is, and it's trying to. It's like the people going back to like the people that are just running so they can eat a bar of Galaxy at night, or these people that are working out to eat. No, like we're eating to fuel our body so we can do these workouts.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that is actually the stronger you get, the more muscle you build, the more things like that, the more you can actually eat.
100%.
Like my mum, like, I'm sorry mum if you ever watch this, because I'm going to slate you.
You're not going to show this to your mum?
I don't know, she finds this way. She likes my pole pictures on Instagram and it freaks me out.
Right. Shout out to mum.
She has no knowledge whatsoever of eating disorders or any of that. She calls all the exercise I do keep fit. It's really fucking annoying, mum. She calls it all keep fit. So like I do pole, I do BJJ, I run, I lift weights, I've just started CrossFit, do all this shit. And it's like, you're going to keep fit tonight, mum. Anyway.
Yeah.
She will forever comment on if you go for a meal and I'll say get like a main meal and a side and then I'll have a pudding and whatever. And she'll be like, oh God, are you really going to eat all of that? It's like, mum, I can fucking eat all of this. Like, all you're doing, and it's people saying, oh God, you're always hungry. You're always this. Like meal prepping through uni. Me and my friend Becky used to do it, and we'd take breakfast, snacks, lunch, snacks, dinner if it was a long day.
Yeah.
And are you eating again? Like, it's that idea that
I don't know why it's just viewed as bad. Like, at the same time, like I said, it's just one of these things where there's a culture to say that, all right, we have got a problem with obesity. I can't deny that. It's getting bigger and bigger. Excuse the pun there. It's getting bigger and bigger as each year gets on, type thing. But likewise, on the flip side, like if you're there and you're somewhat, I don't know, deemed as being active, right? It always has to be viewed as, oh, you can't be eating at what you want then.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, every single bit of food is made of the same fucking compounds all the fucking time, yeah? Yes, there's a difference in terms of like processed levels, which people again don't know there's like 4 levels to processed food in terms of how processed it is, type of thing. Of course, I'm not saying go and eat the highest processed food 24/7, but you having it once in moderation ain't gonna fucking kill you, yeah? And it's trying to get that balance of it. And it's honestly, from doing the bodybuilding, being very focused on my own personal self-image, it's taken years to get used to being going like, I want more food, I want more food.
Yeah.
Right? I've got no issue with it. I don't judge it in the slightest bit. And if I then had a purpose where I needed to change my weight for anything, then fine. I'd be aware of the calorie value of it. I sometimes refer it back to finances. You can't then be shitting on yourself because let's say you've had a shopping spree one weekend.
Yeah.
How dare I spend all that money? Like, if you haven't got the money to spend in the first place and you're on budget for a reason, yeah, then hey, that's you've put yourself in that situation. Yeah, it's the same thing of like, I don't know, you've got to make weight for whatever reason, yeah, and you go and have 5,000 fucking calories in one day, yeah, knowing what that calorie volume is, yeah, that's your own fucking, you've done that, yeah? But at the same flip side, like, if you can keep that within budget, why the fuck does anyone else have to care about it?
It comes down, there's a couple of like my bugbears there, but with women is we have this whole thing again around like periods, is that we all want to sit and eat chocolate and we all want to sit and do this, and there's nothing better than cuddling up in bed with a hot wild bar and a chocolate bar, like fuck off. These women restricting themselves in this bit, and this was something that I learned from Sky again, which I've thought about quite a lot, is that women are on diets and they don't take into account that actually when you know around your ovulation or whatever, I can't remember which way it works, you need more calories.
Yeah, that 300 to 400 is nothing too extreme in terms of it.
But have the chocolate bar if you want to sit, and don't fucking beat yourself up and sit there feeling shit and being more upset.
You're setting yourself up for a loss. That's the thing. It's the same thing I try and, it's not identical in terms of it, but I put it into perspective. Like if you're going to go out and have a few beers on the weekend or whatever, like a few drinks, whatever it could be, then the idea simply being is that I do not want you to set this limitation of only having one fucking drink, yeah, or even 2 for that matter, because you'll get through those 2 drinks, like every other average Joe, pretty quickly, and then you're right on the cusp of thinking, oh, I'm going to feel like shit now, I'll have a third, and then what's the fucking point, yeah? Whereas if you set yourself a 10 drink fucking limit, yeah, and you only have 6, you're going to feel way better about having 4 less drinks than what you fucking intended. And it comes back to that whole point of like, there's a period within your menstrual cycle that obviously requires more energy within that, where basic hormonal functions are going on. So why are you trying to restrict yourself every single fucking week, like the same week, and treating it the same? It's not.
It's right? It's what we've been taught though, isn't it? This is the thing, and it's been especially like us 90s kids we were all around this toxic, like real toxic shit that's just completely unnecessary now. But it's a lot of people need to learn a lot of stuff, and
it needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, and it should. And the other thing about like with the obesity crisis and stuff like that, and athletic women or women in fitness, whether it's whatever the sport is how highly criticised we are. And I'll say we because I'm someone that's had it before, is that like getting criticised for showing off that you can be like this, or for the foods that you eat. And like, you know, I'll always do it. If I've got a decent bit of cake, I'll put a photo of it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could fucking eat that. Or like, you're such a lucky bitch and stuff. And it's like, no, it's not about that. It's learning that if you want to have that piece of cake, but you're also watching your weight, which is a perfectly acceptable thing to do, to want to lose weight if you are not happy with your body, is like you said, to take that into account with your day. You know, have your breakfast, have
week,
lunch.
month, whatever. Like, I love playing this game with people. Let's say, he obviously doesn't like
I'm going to have to go in. Someone's going to break a door down. Are they stopping?
No.
2 secs. I don't know where.
This is Sparta. Bang. We're talking about our perception of like women in terms of like they have to be kind of like under eating all the time and this type of thing, and it's just like it shouldn't be in that case, which is right. I don't know why there is this culture with it at all, and I don't know where it stems from. Is it from what we're seeing all the time socially? That's what I think is where it comes from, if I'm honest. But
yeah, there's still a lot of like catching. I think there's a lot of damage that was done, like, you know, like Kate Moss supermodels and all that sort of thing when we went back, and there's still bits and bobs that like feed into it. And then we've kind of gone like the opposite way. And I know this is really contentious and I apologise, but we've gone the opposite way with like the body positivity and stuff like that. So the one that's come up when I've been on training with work is like Lizzo, and how she can like be this great person to show you, you know, that we love our bodies no matter what, and that apparently like she's fit and healthy and all this. And obviously she's big. There's no dancing around that subject, but it's then taken into, it's so complicated because then you've got to take into account that she's got the money for personal trainers, for nutritionists, for doctors, for blood tests, for all this sort of stuff that everyday people don't have.
What I don't get with her, more so than anything else, is nothing against her in the slightest bit. She'll be then pushing a diet as well.
Yeah.
Right? And the diet that she's then pushing, she's even being paid to do this as promotion, which fine. Maybe if you're in that position, you've got to think about the audience you're dealing with. A quick word about one of our sponsors, Grapplers Soap. The team wanted to find, right, the best possible defense against skin infections, which normally we get from each other or off the mat. This, in turn, led Dan and the team into researching more about soaps and essential oils, which turns out has been used for thousands of years, actually, as a natural defense against infection during the plague. Slightly twisted story here, but grave robbers in England knew of the power of essential oils and smothered themselves in it before exhuming and stealing corpses. Useless fact of the day for you there. But Dan and the team had tried several soaps before, but none of them just simply wowed them. So he started to make his own. Months more research, trial and error led to finally this golden nugget, Grapplers Soap, which you'll be pleased to know the recipe is CPR registered and approved by pharmacists. The use of a specific method to lock in the amazing natural smell, no cheap fragrances used here, which means the soap and use smell great and stand the best chance of staying healthy. Although the soap was developed for grapplers alike, it is now widely being used by non-grapplers, and Dan is always delighted to hear from customers about how it's cleared up dry and itchy skin, or relieved eczema, or just simply made you feel awesome. The smell alone has been a massive hit with men and women alike. So enough waffle for now. Go and get yourself some now at www.mrbassets.com, or go check out their Instagram page for some very funny memes at Grapplers Soap. Thank you, guys. So yeah, Lizzo, she promoted an alkaline diet, and I don't know if it's the same practitioner at the time, but there was definitely a case that happened in America that a guy who had the title doctor, which technically doesn't mean you're an actual medical doctor, you can be anything, so I think he was a chiropractor, if I remember rightly, convinced a patient who was having cancer treatment to stop taking chemo and to follow the alkaline diet, and then got sued for £1 billion, basically.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and then also complained that he thought the price that he was being sued for was too much. It's like, you just killed someone.
For a person's life.
For a person's life, right? And like, again, it's just horrific to hear. And so back to that sort of like Lizzo statement of like body positivity, I somewhat get a bit frustrated when I see people in one camp and then preach something completely opposite, if that makes sense. And like, the other argument behind it is that I don't want people to get misconstrued as to what is healthy, right? And it's not about happiness, it's two separate sort of things, right? And if I'm looking at it from a numbers, analytical, and like physical point of view, I hate to say it, Lizzo is not healthy, right? Pressures on her joints and hips are going to be horrific, yeah? Probably when you look at like body fat levels in terms of that, like some of it is not going to be beneficial to her organs internally, yeah? And then on top of that, what are the food groups that she's consuming on top of this? And it's just, to promote that as like, oh, we should all be happy with this, we should just love our bodies and this type of thing. I'm like, well, you're shortening your lifespan. Yeah. And is that a good thing to be promoting? No, not the slightest bit. And so it's really tricky. And part of me feels that I don't want people who have gone down, like us, the wrong dieting structure, followed meal plans or something else different. Like you mentioned the Beyonce thing. I've done one where I was only drinking soup for 3 weeks, for example, right?
Yeah.
Thinking, how can a liquid turn into fat? This will be fine, this will be no problem. And then all of a sudden go, oh, nothing's worked for me. So do you know what, I'm body positive now.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't just give up. Yeah, there is a solution. Obviously, if you come across this page, then yes, we're going to tell you all the right things to do type of thing. But I just don't want people with such influence to be kind of like, nah, don't worry about your health, it's fine, just love
Yeah.
your body, because there's a fine line with it.
There's, you know, not giving a fuck about how your body looks and loving your body how it is, that's fine. But the way you look and your health, like, in my opinion, are two very different things.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a lot leaner and thinner than I am. To the outside person, I would look healthy or look like in good shape. But actually, you know, you're knackered, your hair's shit. You're not going to the bathroom properly. You're not going. You know, everything tastes crap. Your breath stinks. All this stuff.
It goes to the extremities of your menstrual cycle when it starts to
Yeah.
fuck up, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's one of these things again that image seems to be the epitome of health, which is really interesting, because you look at most bodybuilders or fitness influencers and all this type of stuff. It's all about how they look.
Yeah.
And then people think that, like I jokingly said, I went into bodybuilding thinking like, I'm going to get all the girls, all this type of fucking jazz. It made no fucking difference.
Yeah.
Right? It literally, that is not health in the slightest bit, right?
No, and bodybuilders are grumpy fucks as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it gets like even worse. Like, they're miserable in places of all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's strange to think that, again, like, it's all down to this body image, and that's like, right, if you're of a certain body image, fine, you're in a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's no being someone that's been like such a variety of different weights. I cannot say at any of them points have been like, yeah, this is how I want my body to look. Even now I'm like, you know, because there's no, and I'm someone that's had surgery to try and make myself more appealing to myself. I think it's just about accepting that you're probably never going to be, you know, it sounds really like negative, but you're never going to look how you want to look, because at each milestone, each point you reach, there's something a little bit better, and then to maintain that, especially again as a woman, where you know you need different calories right the way through.
Yeah.
It's not manageable to maintain that constantly all the time, and just sort of accepting that you need to like your body. You don't need to love it, but health is like your main thing, because at the end of the day, being really happy with yourself at a size 14, you're probably not going to still feel that way when you're 18. You can't go,
there's like a fine balance as well when it comes to it, and the fact that if we took at health as all aspects of it, right, you're super shredded to the bone, you think you look fucking sick. How's your mental health looking at that point?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's been super duper lean that's mentally can say that they've got a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
And then there's
Like, I know Sky's talked about it before,
Yeah.
like when she did the bodybuilding stuff and everything like that, and again about how that took the time to repair that relationship as time went on, type of thing, and it just puts into perspective that being shredded all fucking year round really is of no benefit other than a potential marketing ploy for you to do and sell yourself, and I don't know, could be an online coaching, could be an OnlyFans, could be fucking anything, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, where is that going to bring you longevity-wise in the future, right? I despise seeing people who do their bodybuilding shows and they're after the show fucking in their fucking wardrobe, or no, what's it called? Not wardrobe. Dressing gown, all fake tanned up, like literally looking at a donut like, oh my God, this is amazing, I haven't had this in 12 weeks. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm not saying that everyone who does bodybuilding can have an eating disorder, but if you want like the epitome of it, like you've got it there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just a fucking donut.
Yeah,
Like,
and hats off to them for the dedication, the people that can do that.
Yep.
Like, to be that motivated and dedicated to do something like that is amazing. But there's a bigger picture. Like, it's lasting damage, and I don't think that's what we take into consideration, especially with like bodybuilding and stuff, the lasting damage that can have. So it's one of those.
And that's where I don't want, like I said, even though it's probably on a lesser scale type of thing, about like in terms of manipulating the weight type stuff for people who do jiu-jitsu and making weight for competitions, is then making sure that, as it's quite minuscule in terms of how much people are moving their weight, there's not many people out there I like to think that aren't going to move 10 kilograms for it, which I think we've got a topic with actually. I know there's not as many categories in the female division as well,
Yeah.
which is interesting. But the idea being, if we're moving, let's say 5 kilograms maximum to properly move down type of thing, that with a good diet for 5 weeks you can move that, right? And we're not talking fuck all food either. We're still talking about a considerable amount depending on your size, your height, your weight, and that type of thing, in the sense that, don't get me wrong, if you're 5 foot nothing or 4'11" and weigh like 52 kilograms and you've got to be under 50 for whatever reason, you're going to be on a lot lower calorie content than someone who is your height, for example, and starting from a higher number type thing. Yeah. So it really kind of puts it into perspective for it. But let's touch on that then. You're in a higher weight category than where you originally competed with.
Yep.
How's it been in terms of trying to get numbers? Because we've had other people, for example, we've had to go up to like under 90, for example, to get matches, which just seems like a fucking huge jump, if I'm honest, like 70 to 90 type thing. Have you had that issue at all?
I haven't yet, no. There's this under 70, over 70 thing, which I've spoken to a few women on the page about. Is the under 70, all right, cool, you know what you're going to be up against, like anything down from that's good, yeah, sound, peaking at that. Over 70, not so much fun. So the last BJJ competition that I did, like a competition, there was there was one woman in my bracket and I'd paid £110 for the, oh no I didn't, because I did the absolute as well. I think I paid £120 or something, or 130, and there was one woman in my bracket and I emailed her, I was like, look, I'm not fucking doing this again. This is where Women of BJJ started from, was me spitting my dummy out because I had one woman in my category.
What was it? Do you remember? Is it IBJJF? Like that's a lot of money for a comp line.
24/7 again. Okay. Yeah, it's not cheap.
Sorry, there's nothing. I haven't competed with them, so I'm not like slagging them off in the slightest bit type thing. But
I mean, it's good comp. It's worth the money, to be fair. But so I sent him an email and I was like, look, I don't give a fuck. You put me in any bracket you want with any levels. I'm not asked, just do it. Like, this is me wandering around at like 68. And anyway, they sent the email the week before, and I was with heavies, middle heavy, purple belts, instantly regretted it. I was like, yeah, fuck. Why have I got to be so impulsive? Going with the heavier women was hard, like so difficult. So I was, the difference between like 70 and 74, I didn't realise it could be so much.
Yeah.
But it was, and I'm dreading the day that I have to enter an over 70s with that. Like you said, there's no cap. So
it's the good old joke of Gabby Garcia turning up type thing and being like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this in front of me type of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what that is. But
do you know who Gabby Garcia is? I'll have to show you a picture of her. She's like, she goes to the ADCC and she's like 5'10", obviously on stuff, and she's just fucking huge. Like she makes men look small. Right, and like she goes into those absolute brackets, like shall, I've got no problem with this type thing. But to be fair, some people have beaten her. I think Theon's beaten her, right? Actually, to be fair to say. But I know exactly what you mean. It's the same thing I have with the ultras. Like we've had people before. I mentioned it. That we had a guy local to me who went and competed in the ultras. He's a big guy, 6'1", 6'2", about 110 kilograms, very lean, just ex-bodybuilder, powerlifter type thing. And would dominate the white belt division really well until he went and did one competition. He came up against an ex-pro rugby union player, and he said he felt like a child.
Yeah.
Like just being thrown around. And again, same sort of height, bit of the same big build, and it's just like a different fucking story. And he said, really kind of put in perspective that in that ultra, you just don't know what the fuck you're going to turn up against. Like.
Yeah, I think with it, you've got to have some confidence in that you can. I think you have to have confidence in that the category that you're entering, you can compete in it, which sounds stupid, and I don't really know how to explain it in a proper way. But I know if I went into if I went into say 74 again, I'm gonna get smashed. Like my blue belt skills are not good enough to hold my own against someone's weight and to hold my own against a level. Like I'm gonna pick one, and it's probably gonna be just sticking with the blue belt. But it's like equally, I'm not gonna walk into a 60 kilo and fling them about a bit. It's just unnecessary. Like I wouldn't drop that low. So obviously when we're talking about cutting and stuff, I know if I didn't eat for a couple of days, I could easily go into, I don't know what it is, like 66.9 in gi, whatever it is. I know I could easily drop into that, but then I'm going to have 3 kilos on top of anyone in that, and it doesn't really.
This is the thing, when we've done little bits of research before and we look at, like, let's say, everyone who's weighed in at a local competition, it's about a disparity of most people coming in on average by 1.7 kilograms, right? So I was chatting to one of your guys here about this as well, and I said the reality behind it is that, are you going to give let's say we get you to eat a load of food, and then all of a sudden you're a kilo heavier than what you need to be, right? And then on top of that, the bracket, everyone's obviously 1.7 lower than what it is. Let's talk about the 70, for example. Let's say you're walking around like, let's say 66, but you're thinking about, maybe I'll go under 66 for that, right? I said, right, 66, we give you a bit of food, you go to 67, On average, most people are eating 1.7 under that 70. Are you going to give a fuck about a kilo, basically? Yeah. Right? You're not going to walk around the mat area and be like, how much do you weigh? Oh, sorry, I'm rolling with you now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't care. Like,
it's nice as well, like when you're weighing in, to not have to strip off. The last couple of competitions where I've gone in at 70, I've jumped on fully dressed, in my clothes, weighed in at 70. There's been no pressure. I've been like, sound,
Easy.
Yeah.
Eating a pizza slice on the scale at the same time.
Having breakfast.
Yeah.
pint, you know, whatever you fancy. Like, it depends how much you want to take the piss. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't endorse a pint before a comp, maybe, but that's it.
I don't endorse it. It's just nice. It takes away the nerves. But yeah, there's a lot to be said with, particularly with women in weight, because there are a lot less women competing than there are men. Our weight categories are either there's loads of them and there's no one in them, or there's this under 70, over 70, under 60, over 60. You know, there's this thing where like the smaller women at 47, 48 kilos aren't going to want to go against someone at 60. And there is a lot of these little small women, like the little firecrackers, but they're a lot lighter than everyone else. And there's only so far being whippy can get you when you're up against someone that's got 10 kilos on you. And then again, on the flip side of that, if I'm going in at 70 up against someone at 90, it's not going to get me very far. And trying to...
So I can imagine that encouragement and confidence as well. It's like if you're going into a competition, there's minimal people within that bracket and you're getting smashed by someone who's 20 kilograms. It's already been, from speaking to yourself, hard enough to get them onto the competition mat in the first place, right? To have that confidence to go there and do it, and then to be absolutely basically shafted all of a sudden on that competition with just being smashed by someone who's 20 kilograms heavier than you. I think everyone has a little bit of knock of confidence when they have that loss, if that makes sense. Not saying it's like you never want to, some people that they never want to compete again, which I can understand, that's for them, but if it's already, from what you described to me, a battle to get women on the mat on the first place and have that type of an experience, especially maybe first, second time, third time round, you may go, do you know what, I'm not going to compete again, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And what's the solution to it then, mate? So obviously, again, I'm not to say that it's whinging in the slightest bit, but I like to think of like what can we do to obviously encourage it a little bit more. Is it more weight categories? Because like I'll be honest, the ADCC stuff with the under 55 bracket, lots of people being positive about it, but on the flip side they're like, well, why is it an encouragement downwards all of a sudden? Why can't we get more upwards as well, type thing? And I'm like, well, it's a step forward in the sense there's another category for it, but what's the solution? Is it just more weight categories? Or?
I don't know. So first of all, what we've been talking about on the page and things like that, and we've had loads of discussions about, and I've had discussions with women at competitions and open mats, is it's not incentivised. So, for example, when we go with the lads from here, they'll pay the same amount that we do, and they will be in a bracket of, say, 60, I don't know how it works, like they'll have maybe 8-10 fights, whereas women, we're going in and we've got 3 fights. Who's going to come?
Hey.
Just, can you sit down? Is that all right?
As long as you're happy with it, like,
just
like YouTube and stuff, is that going to be okay?
Yeah. You're everywhere anyway, aren't you, mate? Is that there's no, like, I'm paying £110 for 3 fights. Lads are paying £110 and getting 8 fights. You know, they're absolutes. They've got 10 people in. And this is where we're talking about, like, incentivising it, having a reduced rate. Or it being cheaper, or it being based on something, because what a lot of women are finding...
Is you right going downstairs and stuff?
Where are you going? In the garden? Outside? Okay, come straight, bye.
So I can just see him heading straight for the stairs and just like head first, like
No, he's quite capable.
Sorry, not saying
okay.
you can't.
No, like no, I didn't mean that to sound so rude. No, he's very good on his feet. So is that I think I know I get a bit pissy about having to spend the same amount and not getting these fights or going up against the same people and stuff. So when we spoke about incentivising, and we actually did a poll about it, and no women were looking for free places. Because when I've contacted competitions and stuff like that, they've said, well, we've tried giving out free places, and it's like, and women haven't turned up. You can see the flaw in that. If I'm signing up to something free and I wake up the day before and think I can't really be asked,
you've got no skin in the game, so you don't have to worry about it. Thing. It's interesting because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is just solely to you, right? I know guys who, let's say, are in the heavier brackets, at higher belt levels, they struggle to find people. Yeah,
and it should be the same for men as well. This isn't something that's specific to women. Competitions need to realise that you are going to get a lot of people middleweight at white belt. Same for blue belt. That's always going to happen. You're going to make your money from those. Once we start creeping into like purple belts, brown belts, black belts, women across the board, this is where they need to start making it incentivized to do that. So Empire are a really good one. They do a discounted rate for brown belts and black belts, and I think most recently they did it for purple belts as well, males and females.
That's good.
And that's a step in the right direction, because what we're getting is competitions flooded with white belts. They're then very generic middleweight white belts, and there's loads of them, and then there's loads of blue belts and stuff. And on another side of that as well is you're waiting on one mat for all these white belt matches to go, and then you're going in as a purple belt and you're on like 4 o'clock because they've done all these white belt matches. So it's the organisation of it, it's the cost of it, it's everything. But specifically for women, I think it's what do you call it when it's two-person thing? I can't remember the word. Yeah, it's two-way street. So if competitions are offering blue belts and purple belt females a discounted rate, we need to not sit there and bracket watch and think, oh, I'll enter if someone else enters. Take that step and enter it. You can get credits, and you can also refuse those credits and get a refund. That's okay. Like I've done it recently in a competition where there was one person in my bracket. I'm not going to travel all that way. Yeah. And so the other person will get a refund too. And it's a bit shitty on my part because someone else is being let down, but I'm taking ownership of I don't want to do that, and I'll take it on to the next one.
Especially with someone you might have already competed against or something like that. Yeah, I get it completely. I think that's quite positive to hear that, again, you're very much the understanding that I think some of the audience that we have, obviously, you think like, oh, again, women in jiu-jitsu obviously needs to be uplifted, right? I don't disagree with that in the slightest bit, but it's like, why are they getting special treatment for it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the trying to find a fine balance. And I think the fact that I think we can all acknowledge that there's certain brackets which are going to have way more people in, type of thing. It could potentially, I don't know, maybe one incentivized way that I've looked at before is he's back, the legend.
Screw it now.
Hey mate.
Sit.
Star of the show.
Yeah, it's not, I think if, and again this isn't a criticism, if you're looking at it as special treatment, which a lot of men do, I think a star. Right.
Star? How are you a star? Like that maybe? I don't know.
That's a good, right, do back, go and sit down. Either sit here or sit over there. Not climbing over me. The idea that it's special treatment is where there's an issue, because it's not special treatment, it's adapting. It's BJJ is coming up for, there's more and more women entering it. Yeah. Did you say before there was a...
Yeah, we've like with the kids and stuff at the local competition, 47% girls, which was wicked to see. And
that's all these girls that are going to hopefully be coming up and being women that are doing BJJ and stuff. But now where we're at, there's a whole load more men. I mean, in our club, there's must be like 30, 40 men, and there's 5 women. Yeah. So it's not special. It's just adapting it. This is how it has to be, because it's not our fault that there's not loads of women in. Like it's not men's fault there's not loads of women in, but it's almost being like accessible. Yeah. I don't have any sweeties, but we'll go to the shop in a minute. Can you go and sit back down and watch the phone? Go and find the iPad for me.
I've got sweeties if that helps.
Do you want a sweetie from Jay? Yeah. Go on then. Yeah, you can have a sweetie. Yeah. Bribe him though. Do we? Jay will give you a sweet if you go and sit down next to Annie.
You gonna do that for me? Any more?
You gonna give one to Annie as well? No. Okay. Not for Annie.
Sounds like Yorkie bars, not for girls. God, that drama nowadays about it still going.
Oh, I know, I do miss it though. Yeah. Like nothing was ever the same. So it's almost like accessibility for us to be going
is it the fact there's too many competitions? I know that's a hot topic across jiu-jitsu, like seeing like 3 major. It's like we're not talking like small local town type competitions, but you're having like, what was it? I can't remember. It was like the Brighton Open, Empire was on at the same time, and there was another massive competition all on the same fucking weekend. Don't get me wrong, they're dotted around the fucking country, but I think as jiu-jitsu enthusiasts, athletes, hobbyists, all that type of jazz, if your whole club's going somewhere, some of us don't mind that longer trip. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know there's a threshold to it. Like, I'll be real, I ain't coming up this way to fucking do a competition unless there's like a holiday incentive. And obviously, like, I'm going here on holiday or sticking around afterwards type thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go all the way up here just for one competition.
Yeah.
Unless the whole club are like, oh, we're doing a massive push for this, I don't know, ADCC Open in London, right?
Yeah.
Then fine, cool, we're all going to go there, that's fine, I'm happy to accept it. But it's one of those things which, is there a set of problems that we just need to address as a whole where it's like, hey, too many fucking competitions going on, right? I think, could we incentivize in the sense that the more people who sign up, the bigger the discount happens for everyone?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I remember seeing this bar, which is kind of really cool. It was like a stock bar, like stock market bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the drink that's not being drunk at the time, they'll put like a number on or whatever it will be, and it will be the cheapest out of all of them, and it will switch every hour depending on what everyone else is buying. And so all of a sudden, I don't know, the tequila shots are like 10p all of a sudden. And then everyone goes to tequila shots, and then it brings up the price all of the thing.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that if we can get more people, female obviously competitors, more of the heavyweights obviously within the brown and purple belt for men or whatever it could be, their price then starts coming down, the more people then enter type thing. So it kind of encourages them to sign up. And then, I don't know, is it the case that they hold on to the funds to make sure that they actually turn up on the day as well?
Yeah.
Like, so that it's not the competition's going to lose out all of a sudden where it's like, oh, we've charged this amount type of thing and no one's turned up still. So
Yeah.
it's a tricky one. So I imagine obviously you're going to have to get into with the promoters of the shows a little bit more to understand their logic behind it all as well.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do it for business purposes. Like, don't get me wrong, they want to uplift Jiu Jitsu and all that type of jazz, but it's still money making.
Well, yeah, we emailed, and I just I said about discount codes. So when the Women of BJJ page started up, I emailed all the bigger competitions. I think there's about 6, and it's like fightwear and stuff like that, and said, look, this is what I'm doing. If you want to offer us a discount code, we'll put it on. You know, it's in the highlights and stuff like that. And all the fightwear companies, absolutely fantastic. You know, obviously they want to sell their bit. Competitions, nope, we've already done this. This is what we've tried. This is it. And it's like, right, okay, so.
Are you just shutting that door permanently, or are you happy to try a few different approaches?
Yeah. I think it felt like it wasn't an approachable subject again. And then ironically after that, they'd put on something. One of the ones that we contacted. No more sweet. Go and sit down for 5 minutes. All right, yeah, take it. One of the ones that we contacted had then actually put on their Instagram a week or 2 afterwards something incentive, like some sort of female incentive. But yeah, they weren't forthcoming in doing it, and it is something that would make a massive difference. Dewey was really good. You're not having sweets until you sit down and I'm finished.
What?
You're not having sweets until I sit down and we're finished.
Uh-huh.
It's over there.
I'm finished what?
This.
What do I need to finish?
I need to finish talking to Jay,
Okay.
so you need to go and sit back over there, please.
Okay.
This is real BJJ mum life.
Sprinkle cone. No, we listen to that, won't we?
Yeah, we love a sprinkle cone.
So you're saying, like I said, they obviously, some of them have come on board. Well, one of them you said obviously came on board, which is obviously good to hear that they're a bit open to it. But,
Yeah.
oh, we got the bottle return.
Yeah, we need it opening. It's there's so much that could be done that isn't being done, but the idea. Yeah, there you go. The idea of just having more competitions popping up everywhere, that's not a solution. No. Like you said, it's just watering it down, filtering it down. There is literally a competition every single weekend now, and more often than not, it's the same one. So again, for example, like, sorry for calling him out, but BJJ 24/7, they're Manchester, Brighton, Newcastle, Blackpool, and they're all sort of within quite close succession. All Stars, every other weekend they're doing one somewhere.
Yeah.
Empire, you know, and it's, by doing this, yes, you're making it so people can travel, there's not as much travel time, but equally then you're reducing the amount of numbers that you're going to get from the other ones, and then the competitors sort of, sounds professional, the competitors' satisfaction of what they're getting from their competition.
We're
you know what I
100%
mean?
professional here, it's all fun.
It's great.
No, I get what you mean, and I think it's the competition scene, I think, where it's that easily accessible for people to put on a show to some degree, be that a sub only or a proper show or whatever it could be type stuff, is where the problem then lies, because again, people just see money, but don't see how it impacts the point where I've been to shows before, and the following year later, where there's been more shows that have come up, like we've gone from a sports hall full of complete mats, like 10 to 20 mats type thing everywhere, to the following year being like 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh? What's this all about? What's going on here type thing? And it's just because the numbers have been so low.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you find that happy balance of it? So, but it's not to tell people how to run their business, but they just need to see how it's impacting the community.
Listen to the people. Listen to the people that you're doing. There's a I forgot what they call it, DNA Championships in London.
So that was it. I think it was DNA. It was Brighton. I think was on, and then it was Empire, all on the same fucking day. I think it was. It was just insane.
So if I had to pick one out of them,
Yeah.
I'd have gone DNA. They had, so it was good all round, but specifically for women, they had cash prizes.
Did
They
they?
had them for everyone, but it was the first one where I've seen where you get. Like it was like blue belt. I don't know what the other ones were because I'm a blue belt, so I don't look at blue belt. But you get you got a gi, you got a cash prize, you got a free entrance into the next one, and that was the I looked at the brackets on that, and they were very good, like for all round, but particularly for women.
That's interesting.
So that wasn't incentivizing women entering; it was incentivizing women winning. You know what I mean? So you're going into a competition, and I go in, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to win this. I don't, but that's what I go in like. And if I saw that and it was closer to me, I'd have entered it because it's like, right, okay, cool. It's worthwhile doing.
Like they give a fuck, basically.
Yeah, even if there is 3 women in, I've got 33% chance I'm going to win that. You know,
Numbers game.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind me asking, obviously we talked a little bit about the competition and like less people sort of entering and that type of thing and trying to incentivise. Is there anything else that comes up that you've come like it's quite prominent with the women of BJ? Again, not trying to be like a Neanderthal man. Obviously, I'm not going to know about everything. Plus, also I get pushback because I'm not a woman. I can't understand everything apparently. So.
Yeah, there's one that's come up recently which we spoke about before a little bit, and again it's contentious, but it is something that needs addressing in my opinion, is competition. Women, like I've not seen it with men, I might be wrong, I'm not a man, but you know, from speaking to teammates, my partner, everything like that, I've never they don't talk about it, that women see other women as competition. And this is across the board on everything, but BJJ, it seems to be quite a thing.
Yeah.
Like you know, if you're with someone that's your same belt or your same weight, or maybe they're the same as both, there's like, oh look, Dewey's here to advertise Grapplers Soap.
Oh, Grapplers Soap, bring that over here. What's that? Come over.
What is it? Let me see. Oh, that's very nice. And your ringworm free now. Does it smell nice?
Oh, say that to the camera.
Yeah.
Good, thumbs up.
Don't touch it. No, you don't need to rub it. You go and wash your hands then, go on. Oh. Some good bubbles coming up there as well.
Hey, there we go. Can't get more of a raw reaction to Grapplers Soap than that.
Yeah, so it's the women aren't your competition. Like we need to have each other's backs, and we need to be a community. And this goes right the way down from just people in your club to people you're in a competition against to female fight companies, pages, communities, all of it. Like we're not against each other. We all do the same shit. We all looking for the same stuff. And like having like some sort of like having respect for each other and shit. And it seems like something you shouldn't have to really say, but it does happen. And you do hear about it a lot. Not just my experience, with plenty of other women that are my friends or people that have messaged the page and stuff. And it feels like it shouldn't be said, but that is an issue. And I think again it's because there are so few women in BJJ, and you're constantly coming. Constantly coming across the same women over and over again. You begin to learn who they are. But there's nothing wrong with just walking up and saying hi to someone, rather than sitting and staring across the mats.
I'll be honest, right? I mean, obviously with meeting different people, obviously Grapplers Soap gives you that much energy. Interesting enough, even like today, when I was rolling with Will earlier, we had a chat afterwards and everything like that. And I was like, oh, what's your Instagram handle? I was like, oh, I already follow each other type thing. Like, I'll bump into people all the time. It's a little bit off tangent with this, but if I don't recognise you, don't be offended. Like I said, like I didn't know your name properly until probably this morning. So I'm like, Beth and Niv, that's who I'm saying. So I'm like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, that'll do. It's like, oh, Bethany, right, Beth, there we go. That'll be easier type thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things which, in the world that we are today, there's just no, you shouldn't have to waste your time and energy on negativity and that slightest bit. And it's not to sound hippy-dippy, right? Any of my close friends know that I don't watch the news in the slightest bit because it doesn't affect my immediate, right? And if it does affect my immediate, I'll be notified elsewhere, not from the news type thing. And it comes to jiu-jitsu women, jiu-jitsu men, brackets, whatever it could be, like animosity between teammates or clubs or anything like that, right? We're all in a hobbyist fucking sport, yeah?
And
Someone loves Grapplers Soap. Bosh.
you smell so fresh. It's, as well. And if you don't want to be...
Is this the guy who painted himself?
Yeah, this is the one that painted himself white. Yeah. We've still got it in our hair. If you're going to be a dick, like, and this goes across all genders of BJJ. If you're going to be a dick, everyone's going to know about it.
Yeah.
Like, for how many of us there are, we're a very close-knit community.
Oh, everyone hears everything, right? You hear about some fucking sort of scandal of some sort. Every man and their dog's already heard about it before it's even fucking happened type stuff.
Dewey, go and put it back in the sink, please. Ta. Go, take it and go. Okay. Yeah, go wash it then. I was actually really excited about using that. Go on, go.
Hey,
No.
hey.
No. Yeah, go and wash it in the sink. Now.
Not to do product placement type of stuff, but we've actually had a lot of kids use it, for example, help massively with loads of different things. Like into like oh, it's class.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dewey's that dirty all the time. It doesn't really matter. Like, you know, could definitely use something. Right, go and wash your hair. Why don't you go and wash your hair? Desperate times now. I can smell it, yeah, thank you. Oh, yes. Bye. We've done well to get this.
One final sponsor shout out to the team at Inner Chimp. Inner Chimp is a brand name that really speaks to grapplers and fighters, one we can believe and relate to on a personal level. Inner Chimp is simply catchy, right? And with small tweaks can be your general gym wear and casual wear and rash guards like this for men, women and children. Inner Chimp is ethically produced and has turned down cheaper production overseas to ensure this. Understanding we only have one Earth, right, which we need to look after. This is at the forefront of their production decisions, and we want you, our listeners and viewers, to have a sense of accomplishment in knowing that you are doing your part when buying their products. Inner Chimp tees are 100% organic cotton. They're packaging 80% recycled cardboard, and all of their products are designed to last. Their production and manufacturing is in the UK, trying and aiming to be as eco-friendly as possible, leaving close to zero global footprint. But to put it simply, Inner Chimp has a massive passion for the sport, attention to detail, and our planet in mind, and always at the forefront of your own Inner Chimp. Go check out their website, www.inner-chimp.co.uk, or go check out their Instagram at inner_chimp. Thank you for your time. I know. I'll try and make it quick, mate. Apologies for it. What were we talking about?
Yeah, so anything like that. If you're going to be a dick, people are going to know about it. If you're bitching about people behind the back, you're going to find out about it.
100%.
And like there is cliques in women's BJJ, but they're not.
Is there?
There is, yeah, but they're not like. Or from my experience, they're not bitchy cliques. It's just like sometimes you've got more in common with other people, and
which
that's
understandable,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like, there's certain people like that. Like for me, there's people who do jiu-jitsu who are fucking football crazy, right? And they love that fucking lad culture for it. And I'm like, fine, but you do you, I've got no issue with it. I've got my own interests and hobbies. I've got no problem with it, and I'm not really fussed about being part of many cliques, if I'm honest. But I'd be surprised at like having like women cliques that matter. Like I can understand within clubs, like our club versus your club or whatever. That's pretty normal to say the least. But to find out that there's like cliques within that again is like it shouldn't be seen as bad. It's just different groups of people get on with different things.
Yeah, because it works really well. It's got its bits like. It's got the bits where, you know, you start walking onto the mats and you don't really... It's not the same as lads where you walk up and you're like, you're right. Yeah. Like, with women, you sort of sit there and you're trying to find someone that, like, I'll be like, have they got any tattoos or piercings or do they look like they've got kids? And, you know, I'd sort of be more inclined to go up to them. But this is more like the good cliques are the ones where you learn stuff from them and stuff. So you've got like the cliques where they're really good at one specific thing, and all those women in that group are good. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't explain it properly. I'm actually just chatting shit, but I know what I mean.
It's all right. It's fun. I know what you mean. I think to some degree it's just trying to find that people that you resonate with the most. I think is the best way of looking at it. Yeah.
It's not high school. You don't have to take sides, and you don't have to.
How can I put it? If someone said that, oh, I'm going to go and work with Sky, for example, right? I'm not going to be like, how fucking dare you? Don't get me wrong. Like, if there's something I've done wrong and put you off with me, then I would love to know his feedback type thing.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, Sky deals more with menstrual cycles than you do. I'm not going to be like, well, duh, I don't have a menstrual cycle. I can only read from a fucking textbook. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be, I wouldn't
bite it.
No.
I mean, I don't doubt that with all its natural properties, it's not edible. But
one of the promotions they had, actually, do you know who Dan Hardy is by any chance? Or?
Is he the guy that does it? I follow someone.
Dan Hardy, so he's
Yeah.
so you got Dan Bassett, the guy who does it, but he had a guy called Dan Hardy who's a UFC, or he was part of the UFC as a presenter, he was part of that and everything.
No.
And he sent a bar of soap to him and a guy called Judo Jimmy, and they both took a picture trying to eat it, type of thing, because he had oats in it and stuff, so, which is hilarious. You have very super clean feet, mate. He knows.
Right, go on. Can you go and wash it now because it's dirty? Off. Off. What? You can have a sweet in 5 minutes, okay?
Cool. Anything else you want to get off chest with the Women's BJJ page that you want other people to think about it? Like, obviously, again, you read the page, you see obviously the stuff, the polls, or anything else that you want to clear up of like misdemeanors or misunderstandings, that type of thing? Or?
No, the Women in BJJ was started because there was nothing out there that brought women together. There's plenty of ones where, there is plenty of things that bring women together, but there's nowhere specifically where everyday BJJ women, like me, like the women that I train with, like the women that I meet at seminars and stuff, where we can share our stories, because everyone comes in for a different reason. And I made this page because I wanted to bring the women, the everyday women that don't want to be world class or anything like that, bring them together so we can all have a crack and stuff, where you can come and have a roll and an open mat, but it's not an open mat where you're all smashing each other because you're training for something. It's somewhere where you can sit and chat shit, or you can roll, or you can do whatever. You can just sit and have a coffee, and the more community vibe about it, rather than it being just about BJJ, it's about women, and that was the reasoning behind the page, and with the camps and stuff. And I know I did step on a couple of toes with it.
You're going to, like, that's natural. Like, you can never be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd rather be a shot of whiskey or tequila personally, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it. And it's the case that you're always going to piss off someone, right? I know we pissed off people by starting this page, because I know there's other people out there who do it, right? And hey, like, at the end of the day, I've tried to be as open door policy, right? They want to chat, more than happy to have a chat with anyone. Want to come on the podcast, happy to bring you on the podcast, Like, I've got no issue in the slightest bit, right? It normally helps me with the conversation even more so, if that makes sense. Not saying I'm struggling with this one the slightest bit, but like, having two nutritionists in one room is obviously fun, because we can get to resonate, make sure we can get rid of some of the imposter syndrome that maybe sat in the back of our heads a little bit, type of thing as well. But like, oh, you've had the same problems too? Oh, so it's not just me then, type thing. But no, you're always going to have that, mate. But what I'll do, the privilege obviously with the kids and stuff, I'll try and make this wrapped up a little bit more quicker. We have these kind of questions that we keep back for people, and you'll be asked and put a question for the following guest after this as well, okay? So kind of like Diary CEO, if you haven't heard of it at all, and they try and get what the previous guest asked, the next question for the next guest and so on. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the normal staple one. So when you've got your dubs at competitions before, what is the post-match meal that you've gone to?
German Donna.
A German Donna?
Yeah, the German Donna. I'm not even ashamed. No, actually, no, I changed my mind. Brazilian. We've always gone for Brazilian. The meat buffet, and every time after a match, we're like, oh, we'll go out, we'll get smashed, and then we go and eat so much meat and eat so much then Capriani's. Yeah, we just fall asleep.
I love that. I actually got a Brazilian booked in for my birthday. The food restaurant, not Brazilian wax, sorry. For anyone listening. But no, got it booked in for my birthday. The one food group which I got introduced to when I first went there was cinnamon pineapple. honestly just incredible. Like,
Yeah.
and it's obviously barbecued as well, which is just just amazing.
And that pincinata, no, don't know how to say it, steak.
Fucking lush, all
Yeah.
of it. That's fair enough. I like that. That's a different one. We normally get burgers or something like that most of the time, but
Nah.
that's all good. Next question we've got is a bit of a deep one, so this may take you a little bit to think about. What's oh my god, I can't think of the wording of it now. What's going on? Which loss do you cherish the most, or which failure do you cherish the most?
What, BJJ?
Can be anything.
My marriage. Yeah, fuck that shit, never doing that again. I cherish it because Jesus Christ, like, I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a failure, but I'm so grateful for it, for every single miserable second of it.
I
Yeah.
haven't got an ex-husband coming down to chase me down after that. I was
No,
like,
he's in prison, you sound, it's alright.
it's all good, as long as he's not behind on a blue belt, I'll be alright, hopefully. Collect the thing. So yeah, no, that's interesting with that one. Next question that we got is, what's an unpopular jiu-jitsu opinion that you have?
An unpopular jiu-jitsu opinion. That is blue. I don't know. My personal one is I'm not rolling with really sweaty guys. Like,
Not rolling with the sweaty gi guy.
no sweaty gi.
Hey.
The sweaty gi guy needs to bring
No.
numerous gis.
Numerous gis.
Numerous gis.
For each round.
Yeah, absolutely. Dewey, give me a
Hey.
string. Right, go do some climbing and some jumping. Nearly done now. No, 2 more minutes. You're doing fantastically, young lady. 2 more minutes. Yeah, sweaty gi guy should bring numerous gis.
Do you think someone has to have the conversation with them, like really sternly, like you sweat a lot?
Yeah, I just avoid them.
Just avoid them.
Yeah, someone dripped sweat into my mouth once and I threw up a little bit, like actual
Oh.
sick, and I've never done it again since. Like, no.
Someone in the club who's listening to this, so if they don't watch this
Yeah,
back and
sorry.
be like, oh, you know who you are, you've had the message.
Well, you felt how hot it gets here. Everyone's a sweaty gi
Oh
guy
yeah,
here.
but there's something satisfying about like, a hot, sweaty no-gi session like on a Friday night, and it's just like it's all done and dusted with, and you're just dead on the mat. I fucking love it, but it is what it is. What do you think is a perception that new female BJJ people, so let's say they haven't started it, for example, what do you think is not like a myth when people think about starting it? Or like, oh, this is going to happen if I start doing jiu-jitsu, or I'm not quite sure about this, or...
There's two.
Oh.
There's no gi and gi. So with no gi, it's not sexy like you think it might look. Men don't give a shit whether you're sat on the face if you're in like spats or shorts. You know, it's not sexy.
Sorry, I'm
You
going to use
literally-
that as a clip.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not something sexual when you're doing it. Like it is purely they are going to take you back. Like that's it. You fucked. Like and in gi, yeah, gi's not a fashion statement. Like we all look fucking ridiculous in them. It doesn't matter. Just get on the mats, chuck
get on
your
the
pajamas on, do it.
Have a bit of fun. Gi or no gi, what's your preference?
No gi every day. I don't think I've trained gi all summer.
Also,
Yeah, it's too hot.
to be fair, I've kind of gone with the statement I'm doing Australian jiu-jitsu now, where I'll just do no gi in the summer, and then I'll go back to gi in the winter type of thing.
I'm
so.
going to take that. I'm owning that as well. Yeah, I'm
Makes
Australian.
more sense
Australian
to it.
for the win.
It should be good. Oh, mate, we're nearly done. I promise you.
Go and put it in the bin quickly. Yeah, go find a bin. Can you put that lid and that string in as well?
Top man. Men don't care if you sit on their face. Sorry.
My biggest life lesson.
Oh God, love that bit. And then I think we're coming to the final question, which is, what would you tell your 18-year-old self not to worry about?
Poor. Having kids. No, that's a joke. They're great. Not to worry about. I don't know. There's just so much shit. About what people think.
Yeah.
Yeah, do what the fuck you want, and as long as you're happy and you're not hurting people, that's it. Yeah.
Fair, it's fair. That's
We can
all
hurt
good.
people in BJJ because it's not real.
It's all good. Like I said, my friends who are away on the other side of the Lake District, they were like, "You want to go off and get beaten up by people?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's something about it." Like,
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think what was it? We stopped off in Wrexham before getting up to here, and they're like, "How was it?" I said, "I got absolutely destroyed by a 50-kilogram purple belt guy," and they're like, "50 kilograms." I'm like, "Yeah, he struggles with people over 50." They're like, "Do you not just throw him off?" And I'm like, "I could have done, but that's not jiu-jitsu."
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
I feel bad. Like I got a big BFG sort of mentality. Like if I bench press someone else, which I can pretty much do to everyone, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. It's like.
I think that's the thing. Ego. There's no ego in BJJ, and if you've got it, it's gonna get fucked up.
No, I don't learn anything from bench pressing people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just no benefit in the slightest bit. So I'm like, right, okay, it's fine. I'd rather get absolutely mauled to death by some 50-kilogram purple belt and be like, how are you doing it? What exactly are you doing? Type thing. Like, again, absolutely incredible. But I think as we're getting more and more returns from doing it, this is getting to a point of wrapping up, mate. So, any shout out to obviously sponsors, page, anything you got coming up, any discount codes, all that type of stuff. Here's your opportunity.
Oh right, yeah. So thanks to Rain, they have been brilliant. Rain Fightwear, they're fantastic. They've had us straight from the word go. They've supported us, women in BJJ.
I like the frames, by the way. You've got the frames like that.
Yeah, so big shout out to them. They're great. They're such.
Sweet.
Dad?
No, no.
Who's that?
Are you Andy's dad?
No.
I don't know.
Dad?
No.
And then,
We're home?
Home?
are you going home?
In a few days.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Yes, I'll make it really super fast. Rob Nittman, he keeps me strong and helps me be absolutely hench as fuck. Lakes BJJ, because I throw tantrums all the time. Those guys put up with a lot of shit. And yeah, Costa for doing my diet, and then Nick, my partner, for every single time I say I'm going to quit after every gi session, telling me I don't really mean it, I just need to get that tantrum out of my system.
The same thing as my wife said. She's like, let me just rant for a second. That's all I need to do. Just let me just rant. That's all I want to do.
Oh, every time after gi, I've come off the mats, I'm like, I'm not doing BJJ anymore, I don't want to do it, I hate it. Are you going to say bye?
Bye. Have a good time.
Yep.
Cool. And then, did you say there's any other discount codes for competitions and stuff like that?
No discount codes for competitions yet, but on the Women in BJJ page, on the little highlights, we've got Progress, Valor, Adapt and Rain.
Nice.
So there's some good ones there.
Perfect, mate. Well, look, obviously, thanks for coming on. Have you got any questions for me, actually? That's what I always forget to ask.
No, I kind of asked them all at the beginning, actually.
That's all good. Well, mate, obviously, congrats, obviously, winning on £1,000 follower giveaway, obviously, to begin with. Like I say, it's completely coincidental. Obviously, it sort of transpired into this, which is really, really cool as well. Obviously, guys and girls, go involved, give the page a follow. And obviously, if you're anywhere near, obviously, the Lake District, then come up to these guys up here. They've all been well and accommodating, and you get this lovely fellow follow you around everywhere as well. Yes, buy Grapplers Soap.
Say Grapplers Soap.
You sound like what was it? Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot.
Nearly.
Mate. Say no to battle soap.
Ooh, beef.
Oh, all the drama.
Yeah, you can.
Bum head.
I'm a bum head.
Bum head.
Yeah.
Judy, do you want to say bye?
Are you going to say bye?
Bye.
Hey, good. Mate, thanks very much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Oh, they did well.
They did all right, yeah. I wouldn't say bad. They do kids classes here. My daughter's just started doing it.
Yeah?
BJJ.